Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, my dear learners. Are you interested in enjoying poetry? Do you like to enjoy reading verses in poem? هل أنت مهتم بتعلم الشعر والاستمتاع بقراءة الشعر والقصائد in English? If you are interested in this video is for you. لو مهتم بتعلم الشعر والاستمتاع بقراءة الشعر باللغة الإنجليزية يبقى الفيديو ده عشانك. يلا let's go. Now let's have an idea about how to learn poetry. In order to learn poetry, let's discuss together this quotation said by Marianne Moore. He says, in a poem, the words should be as pleasing to the ear as the meaning is to the mind. So in poetry, we don't just enjoy with our minds by reading poetry, but also we enjoy with our ears in listening or hearing the words of the poetry. Okay, very nice. But there is something we would like to tell you about before we start together learning about poetry. It is the human brain. You know that our human brain is divided into two parts or two halves. Okay, the first half, it's the half of the left or left brain. The left brain is responsible for logic and reality. The left brain of our the left part of our brains is responsible for logic and reality. في فصين عندنا في المخ، الفص اليسار والشمال مسؤول عن اللوجيك، المنطق والتفكير المنطقي والاستدلالي، وعن الرياليتي اللي هي الامور الواقعيه والحقيقه والمعارف الحقائق. لكن the right brain is responsible for creativity and emotions. الفص الايمن هو المسؤول عن الكرياتيفيتي، الابداع والابتكار، وعن الفيلينجز والايموشنز، العواطف والمشاعر وكده. Okay, this is very important to understand before we discuss together the poetry. Okay, now let's clarify this point by this example. When you are looking at a big puffy clouds, if you are looking at big puffy clouds, your right brain tells you, hey, that one looks like a bunny. This is the right brain that is really responsible for emotions, feelings, creativity, and so on. But what about your left brain? الفص اليسار بقى من المخ بيقول ايه؟ It's a cloud. That is it. This is responsible for reality and logic. It's a cloud, nothing more. Okay? Okay. Now, which half do you use when studying poetry? Try to guess. If you want to study poetry, which half is responsible for studying poetry? Is the left brain who is responsible for logic and reality, or the right brain who is responsible for emotions and creativity? Try to guess and try to think. أي فصل من الفصلين هيبقى مسؤول عن استمتاعك ودراستك للشعر. طيب. There are few hints. Poetry requires creativity, right? الشعر يحتاج إبداع، يحتاج ابتكار. يبقى هنحتاج أي فصل؟ right brain. Poetry requires emotion، يحتاج عاطفة ومشاعر. right brain. Poetry requires an artistic quality. right brain. Poetry requires logic. Left brain. So both. We need both, the right and left brain, if you want to study poetry. Okay. Now, for the left brain, recognizing certain devices used within a poem will give the left brain something to concentrate on. So let's start with the sound devices. The first thing that we'll study together related to poetry today is the sound devices. Sound devices اللي بتخلينا نستمتع, that makes us enjoy listening to poetry or reading poetry. Sound devices is part of the literary devices or poetic devices that we will learn together in these videos. Let's begin with the first one. Rhyme. What is rhyme? What do you mean by rhyme? You know, in Arabic language we say القافية. القافية. Rhyme. Rhyme means the repetition of sounds. The repetition of sounds. When the sounds are repeated, not the repetition of letters, take care, but the repetition of sounds. Let's begin with this exercise. As you can see, here are some examples. When I say hat, cat, brat, fat, mat, sat, this is a repetition of the same sound. At, cat, rat, mat, brat, fat, sat. These are the same. These have the same sound, at. So here is a repetition of the sound at. This is called rhyme. This is called rhyme. In poetry, for example, let's have an idea about this poem, My Beard by Shel Silverstein. Let's read together. My beard grows on my toes. I never wears no clothes. I wraps my hair around my bear, and down the road I goes. Look here, grows, toes, clothes, goes, O's. The same sound, right? نفس الصوت. نفس المقطع الصوتي ونفس الصوت. This is called rhyme. And also, I wraps my hair around my bear, the same sound. So the repetition of sounds, this is called rhyme. The rhyme makes readers enjoy reading and listening to poetry. الرايم أو القافية بتخلينا نستمتع وإحنا بنسمع أو بنقرأ البوتري. وكمان it makes us feel something like sound music. It gives a sound effect or sound music to the verses of the poem. Okay, تعطي كده زي جرس موسيقي لللاينز أو الverses الأبيات الشعرية بتاعت القصيدة. Okay, so this is the rhyme. This is the first part related to an introduction to poetry and one of the poetic devices, literary devices or sound devices, that is rhyme. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let's see you next time with another poetic device or literary device, and enjoy poetry with us. Thank you very much and see you next time. Bye-bye.